Hello children, we have already discussed the concepts of majoritarianism and civil war. The minimum condition for watching this video is that you must have understood and memorized the definitions of majoritarianism and civil war. What is majoritarianism? The belief that the majority community, within bracket Sinhala speakers in Sri Lanka, shall be able to rule in whichever way they want without caring for the minority community in the country, within bracket Tamil speakers in Sri Lanka. So in majoritarianism, the majority community, that is the Sinhala speaking people, gave importance to their language. They made Sinhala as the official language. Within bracket you can write they gave no importance to the language of Tamils. Secondly, the Sinhala speaking people gave more importance to their religion, that is Buddhism. Within bracket you can write they gave no importance to the religion of Tamil speakers. Thirdly, jobs in government and seats in educational institutions were reserved for Sinhala. That is, Sinhala speakers gave reservation to their own people. Within bracket you can write that there was no reservation for Tamil speakers neither in government jobs nor in educational institutions. As a result, as Sinhala gave more importance to their own community or to their own people, the Tamil community felt alienated. They felt that they should separate and form their own country where they can give more importance to their language, religion and in other sectors. As a result, there was civil war. So you can conclude the principle of majoritarianism resulted in civil war in Sri Lanka. Now, what are the defects of majoritarianism or harmful effects of majoritarianism? First, it violates the principle of equality. Samanata niti ku ullanghan karuchi. It does not accept regional differences. Anchalika bhinnata ku grahan karu nahi. Third, it disrespects cultural diversity. सांस्कृतिक विविधता को सम्मान दो नहीं. फोर्थ, इट क्रिएट्स पॉलिटिकल इंस्टेबिलिटी. राजनीतिक अस्थिरता सृष्टि करुछि देश रे. फिफ्थ, इट इज इनजस्टिस फॉर माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटी. अल्प संख्यक पई एटा गोटे अन्याय. All the out of 5 points, point number 4 you have to memorize it. Others are for your understanding. So you need to remember the majoritarianism principle creates political instability in the country. Now you have heard or read in your childhood the story of fox and crane. Let me say it very quickly. Now in this story, fox invites crane for a dinner. The crane accepts the invitation. The fox would serve food in a plate, but crane has a beak. Crane is not able to eat in a plate. Crane goes empty stomach to his home. So basically he goes hungry that night. Is not because he has not ate anything. But the fox is very happy because he gets to eat food of not only his plate but also the plate of crane, but also from the plate of crane. Now crane feels very angry. The crane also decides to teach a lesson to the fox. So crane too invites fox for a dinner party. The fox accepts invitation. The crane serves food in a vessel which is a narrow face. Se sankirna muhare gote patra re dela jahar muh sankirna. Sure hi pare ba kalasa hi pare ba jogte hi pare. And in this vessel, ei patra re fox cannot enter his face. मुँह पूरेकी खाई परिबा नाहीं. And that night, fox went to his home in an empty stomach. Now, this is the first half of the story. You can conclude that both of the animals did not care for each other. Now, in the second half of the story, there's a twist. We will introduce a new character, that is Crane's mother. So the crane had a mother, and the crane's mother scolds baby crane. Why? The crane, you see, the crane and his mother, they were born in India, and they knew the principle of Atiti Devo Bhava. Guests are God. So crane's mother, when he realizes the mistake of baby crane, he asks the baby crane to go to market, buy a plate for fox, and asks the baby crane to go to the house of fox, and there the crane should say sorry and would again invite for the dinner party. This time the fox is served food in a plate, and thank God fox was able to eat, and fox felt very happy. Fox realized his mistake, and he saw in that house that the crane eats in a jug, and there he invited crane for a dinner party and promised that he will buy and he will serve food in a jug. So the crane accepts the invitation. The fox goes to a market and buys jug, and thank God crane eats and is very happy. So in this second half of the story, we saw both the animals cared for each other. In the first half, both the animals did not care for each other, and in the second half, both the animals cared for each other. Now we will take the moral of this story and apply it in our democratic politics. We will see what happens if two communities in a country do not care for each other, and in case 2, we will see what if both the communities care for each other. You must have already understood by now that the case 1 happened in Sri Lanka. As a result, there was civil war. Now, let me discuss 2 more things: air and oxygen cylinder. Now, why I have brought these 2 things, I will tell you later, but let us understand the air in the atmosphere. And you know the air is made up of atoms or molecules. And if I ask you, discuss or tell me the composition of the air, as you are reading in class 10th, you must be able to say by now that oxygen in air is about 21%, and nitrogen in air is around 79%. So suppose let there be 1000 atoms in atmosphere. That means out of 1000 atoms, 21%, that is 210 atoms, must belong to oxygen, and around 78 or 71%, I doubt, please go through the books, and the majority of the molecules out of that 1000 molecules will belong to nitrogen, because around 78% or 78% in air is nitrogen. So in air you can say nitrogen belongs to, so the molecules of the atoms or the molecules of nitrogen are majority in air and the atoms or molecules of oxygen are minority, that is around 21%. Now let us discuss oxygen cylinder. Here the oxygen is a major gas. The major atoms inside oxygen cylinder are that of oxygen, and the minor atoms or the minor group is that of nitrogen. So who was the major so which gas had the, I mean, you can say which you can say that nitrogen was the majority, nitrogen was in majority in air, whereas it became minority inside the oxygen cylinder, and oxygen, which is a minority in air, becomes majority inside the oxygen cylinder. So here the case reverses. Here the case reverses. The thing that you have to understand is majority in one case became a minority in another case, and minority in one case becomes majority in another case. So this example of majority in one case becomes minority, we will see that in Belgium. Now where Belgium is situated, please Google it. Its capital is Brussels. The size of the Belgium is equal to that of Haryana, but its population is half of Haryana. You can pause your video and look at this picture for a while and can memorize the majority and the minority groups. If you will take the if you are going to take the Belgium country as a whole, we will see that the majority group is the Dutch speaking people, whereas the minority group is the French speaking people. Just like in atmosphere, there the nitrogen was the majority, and the oxygen was the minority. Similarly, for the whole of the Belgium country, the Dutch speaking people belong to majority group, and French speaking people minority. Majority ର ଓଡ଼ିଆ ହେଲା ସଂଖ୍ୟା ଗରିଷ୍ଠ, minority ର ହେଲା ଅଳ୍ପ ସଂଖ୍ୟକ. So air ରେ ସଂଖ୍ୟା ଗରିଷ୍ଠ ଅଣୁ ପରମାଣୁ ହେଲା ଅକ୍ସିଜେନ ର ସରି ନାଇଟ୍ରୋଜେନ ର, ଆଉ ଅଳ୍ପ ସଂଖ୍ୟକ ଅଣୁ ପରମାଣୁ ଏୟାର ହେଲା ଅକ୍ସିଜେନ ବା ଅମ୍ଳଜାନ. And you can guess that in oxygen cylinder also. Now this case reverses, or the situation changes when we go to Brussels. In capital Brussels, it is opposite to country's composition. That is, majority are the French speaking people and minority are the Dutch speaking people. You can pause this video right now and look and remember the majority and minority for both Belgium country as a whole and in Brussels. Now let me tell you four facts. First, the percentage. As you know, in air the oxygen percentage is 21%. Similarly, let us discuss the population in terms of percentages. For the Belgium country as a whole, the majority, that is the Dutch speaking people, were 59%. That means close to 60%. And the minority, that is the French speaking people, were of 40%. But in capital Brussels, the majority, that is the French speaking people, were of 80%. And the minority, that is the Dutch speaking people, they were of 20%. So Dutch speaking people for the whole country 60%, French speaking 59%, so close to 60%, and French speaking people 40%. They were the minority. But in capital Brussels, the majority were the French-speaking people who were the minority in the whole country. Their percentage was 80%, and for minority, that is the Dutch-speaking people, it's 20%. Now, I will ask you to take four assumptions, or I'll say ask you to take three assumptions. ତିନିଟା କଥା ଧରି ନେବାକୁ କହିବି. Suppose they are not truth, but for sake of understanding and for sake of simplicity, I'll ask you to assume. ଧରି ନେବାକୁ କହିବି. You can write that also in your notebook. So what are the 3 to 4 assumptions? कौन तीनिटारू चार्टा कथा कहबी धरी नेबा पई. First, let the population of Belgium be 1000. सारा देशर जनसंख्या बेल्जियम रो 1000 बोली धरी नियो. 59% are Dutch speaking people. How much? 59%. तो 1000 रु केते हबो 590. Okay, I'm sorry, let me tell first the four assumptions that you have to take. कौन चारिटा कथा धरी नबाकू हबो, then I will discuss. So first assumption is the total population of Belgium is 1000. Second assumption is the total population in its capital, that is Brussels, is 100. First assumption, the total population in Belgium is 1000. Second assumption, the total population in Brussels is 100. The third assumption that you have to take is in central government of Belgium. In the central government of Belgium, there are 10 ministers. You know that every country has a government. For example, in India, we have central government and state government. The central government, we have Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and he and a lot of various other ministers, defense minister, external affairs ministers, environment minister, petroleum minister belongs to Odisha, that is Dharmendra Pradhan. So we have so many ministers. And similarly in state, we have Odisha state chief minister is our honorable Navin Patnaik, and we have so many other ministers. But what I am asking you to assume, कौन धरी नेबाकू कहूची, that in central government of Belgium, that is the third point, in central government of Belgium, there are 10 ministers, 10टा मंत्री अछंती. And fourth assumption is in Brussels, in government of Brussels or Brussels government, जेमती कि government of Odisha or state government, सेमिति Brussels government or government of Brussels, there are also 10 ministers. So let me say it again. First assumption, the total country, the total population of Belgium is 1000. The total population of Brussels is 100. In the central government of Belgium, there are 10 ministers, and in the Brussels government, there are 10 ministers. This much, please keep these four assumptions in your mind. Now, let me discuss one by one. The Dutch-speaking people were the majority. The percentage is 59%. So, 59% of 1000, it is around 590. So, 590 speakers belong to Dutch speaking community. Dutch कौथिबा संप्रदाय को belong करुचंती. And 40% are French speaking people. In Belgium country, they are the minority. So 40% of 1000, that is around 400 people. What if the central government of Belgium follows the majoritarian principle that was followed by the Sinhala speakers of Sri Lanka? श्रीलंकार सिन्हाला कहूथिबा लोक माने जो मेजोरिटेरियनिज्म नीति ग्रहण करथिले सेटा जदि डच कहूथिबा लोक बा गवर्नमेंट ऑफ बेल्जियम बा सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट जदि ग्रहण करिवो ताले कौन हबो. So 590 speakers are Dutch speaking people and 400 are French speaking people. And I have already said that there are 10 ministers. So can we say 590 डच कहूथिबा लोक बा 600 हाराहारी 600 पाखापाखि 600. So the Dutch speaking people can claim or they can demand ସେମାନେ ଦାବି କରିପାରିବେ that out of the 10 ministers we will have 6 ministers from our community. 10 जन मंत्री मध्यरु 6 जन आमर हेबे because around 59% or close to 60%, I mean their population is close to 60%, and because 40% are of French speaking people, they can demand, then they can say that let us, okay, we will have 4 ministers. So out of 10 ministers, 6 are of Dutch speaking people and 4 are of French speaking people. Now let us go to the capital Brussels. Now suppose we are to follow the same principle. आमे एठी सेही नीति ग्रहण करिबा. Principle of majoritarianism. Its population is 100. And please remember, the majority French speaking people are of 80%. 100 ରୁ 80%. That means 80 people belong to the French community. And the rest are of Dutch community. Dutch कहूथिबा लोक 20%. ता माने 100 ରୁ 80 हेले French, 20 हेला Dutch. So say niti, the same majoritarian principle, if the Brussels government will follow, then out of the 10 ministers, 8 ministers will be from French speaking people in government of Brussels or Brussels government, and 2 will be from the Dutch speaking people. 10 जनक मध्यरु 8 जन फ्रेंच मंत्री हेबे, 2 जन डच मंत्री हेबे. बेल्जियम रे 10 बेल्जियम गवर्नमेंट बा सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ऑफ बेल्जियम रे 10 जनक मध्यरु 6 जन मंत्री हेतिले डच स्पीकिंग पीपल आ 4 जन फ्रॉम फ्रेंच स्पीकिंग पीपल. बट ब्रुसेल्स रे 8 जन हेले मंत्री फ्रॉम फ्रेंच स्पीकिंग पीपल and 2 were from Dutch speaking people or that community. Dutch speaking people कहि परिबा but Dutch community कहि परिबा. Now the beautiful thing about Belgium is this: they did not follow this principle of majoritarianism. So let us see what they did. In the Belgian model, they decided that the number of Dutch and French ministers shall be equal in central government. Central government रे Dutch कहूथिबा लोक मानकर मध्यरु जेतेटा मंत्री हबो सेतेटा मंत्री सेतिके मंत्री फ्रेंच कहूथिबा लोक मानक मध्यरु हबो. So instead of 6 and 4, they decided that 5 number of ministers will be from the Dutch speaking people or the Dutch community, and 5 number of ministers will be from the French speaking people or the minority community. Majority community ra jete ministers, minority community ra bhi setiki ministers. The number of Dutch and French ministers were equal in central government. Now, when this proposal was given by the Dutch people were the majority. So when they gave that the number of ministers will be equal, I'm from the French community and they were the minority in that country, they felt very happy. Just like in the case of the second part of the fox and crane story, in first half both the animals did not care for each other. In second half they cared for each other, or they were very much sensitive to the needs of each other. Okay, in first half they were not sensitive. We can say that they were insensitive. So the French majority, when they listened this proposal, they felt very happy, and they also said that in Brussels, though we are in majority, but we will have equal representation. ସେମାନେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଜାଣିଲେ ଯେ ପୁରା ଦେଶରେ ତାଙ୍କର ସେମାନେ ଅଳ୍ପ ସଂଖ୍ୟକ ଫିର୍ ବି ତାଙ୍କୁ ସମାନ ମନ୍ତ୍ରୀ ପଦ ବେଲଜିୟମ ସେଣ୍ଟ୍ରାଲ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ଅଫ୍ ବେଲଜିୟମରେ ମିଳୁଛି, ସେମାନେ ଜାଣିଥିଲେ ସେମାନେ ଅଳ୍ପ ସଂଖ୍ୟକ ଆଉ ଡଚ୍ ମାନେ ସଂଖ୍ୟା ଗରିଷ୍ଠ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଡଚ୍ ମାନେ କହିଲେ ଯେ ଆମେ ସମାନ ମନ୍ତ୍ରୀ ପଦ ରଖିବା ସେଣ୍ଟ୍ରାଲ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟରେ, ଫରକ ପଡ଼େନି ଯେ ଆମେ ଅଧିକ ବୋଲି। ତ ଫ୍ରେଞ୍ଚ ଲୋକମାନେ ବି ଖୁସି ହେଇକି କହିଲେ ଯେ ଠିକ୍ ଅଛି, ବ୍ରୁସେଲ୍ସ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟରେ ଅର୍ ଇନ୍ ଦ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ଅଫ୍ ବ୍ରୁସେଲ୍ସ ଫରକ ପଡ଼େନି ଯେ ଆମେ ସଂଖ୍ୟା ଗରିଷ୍ଠ ଆଉ ଡଚ୍ ସ୍ପିକିଂ ଅଳ୍ପ ସଂଖ୍ୟକ, ଆମେ ବି କ'ଣ କରିବୁ, we will the second proposal the second proposal that was made was the number of Dutch and French ministers shall be equal in government located in Brussels. So in Sri Lanka you can see both the community, the majority and the minority communities, they did not care for each other, and as a result the country went to civil war, fighting, violence, murder, and with all these things comes sorrow, sadness, disappointments. But in Belgium, the majority and the minority, they cared for each other, and as a result there was peace in the country, or you can say political stability in the country. So third point you can read on your own. So this is all about accommodation of Belgium or Belgian model of governance in your power sharing chapter. So in Sri Lanka you saw there was no power sharing, whereas you can see in this Belgian model that there was power sharing. Thank you very much for your attention. I shall meet you in the next video. Till then, sayonara.